Welcome class, welcome viewers, etc. Today we're going to be starting workout video number 1. We're going to be doing a weightlifting exercise for upper body and the lower body. We're going to be doing these exercises in the context of muscle building, strength building. So we're going to make sure we're focusing on the contraction, focus on the stretch, focus on just the overall control of each and every rep, guys. We're going to want to get the most out of every rep during this workout for our goals. But as y'all know, before each and every weightlifting workout, we got to start with a proper warm-up. So we're going to start with some dynamic, some static, just some general and some specific warm-ups for today's workout. I think we're going to begin with a little 3-minute bike ride, 4-minute bike ride. And for the rest of the video, it's going to be commentary from here on out. So I will get back with you guys in a second. Y'all enjoy the workout.
All right, guys. So here we're beginning with the bike ride. This is going to be a pretty crucial part of any warm-up. It's going to be the first part of all the warm-ups today. This is going to be our raise. So right now our main goal here is going to be to raise the heart rate. We're going to do a steady pace, not too fast, not too slow. It's not about a race. It's really, like I said, just about to get that heart rate up. We're not really working any specific body part here. Obviously it's using the legs, but it's not really a specific exercise, you could say, unless you were training specifically for bike riding, which we are not doing today. But yeah, so as you see here, we're taking it easy. We're not going too fast, too slow. It's a pretty normal pace bike ride. I think I had it on like this bike didn't have numbers as far as resistance, so I couldn't tell you like I was on like a 6 or 7. It was one of those like adjusting knobs. I would say it was probably about half, maybe 3/4, probably closer to half than 3/4. The rest of this warm-up is going to be a lot more specific than this, and it's going to be a lot shorter than this also. This bike ride, I think, ended up being about 4 minutes. We should be about halfway done as of now. But yeah, we got about 2 more minutes of this bike ride, and while the rest of this is going, I think I'll go ahead and explain kind of some of the upcoming warm-ups, or maybe not explain, but just kind of give a brief little intro to the next coming warm-up. So we're starting off with some lunges. Those will be first. After the lunges, we're going to move on to some knee pulls. After the knee pulls, we're going to move on to some toe pulls. After our toe pulls, we'll move on to some wide stance toe touches, then some regular stance toe touches, and finish the general warm-up with some seated body twists. So the general warm-up is just going to kind of be like we talked about how this was the raise. That's going to be more of like, the activate and mobilize portion. So mainly activate. We're really going to be activating the body's muscles at that point. We're not going to be doing any specific muscles per se, but just more so focused on activating the whole body on top of elevating the heart rate, which we have just done with the bike ride, or are doing currently in the video with this bike ride. But after we get done with the general warm-up, then we'll move on to more of our specific warm-ups, which I won't spoil just yet. Those are going to be more focused towards today's actual workout. We're going to be performing weightless actions with movements that we'll be doing later on with some weight to in hopes develop some muscle or strength. So I'll let you guys get back to watching the bike ride, and I'll be back soon. right, guys, so today we're going to start our general warm-up with some lunges. As I said earlier, with these guys, you're really going to make sure you want to take them nice and slow, getting that good deep stretch down at the bottom. These are primarily going to be stretchers for the hamstrings, the hips, the knees, the calves, pretty much anything in the leg, even the quadriceps. So right here, I'm showing you how not to do them, guys. You're not going to want to take really short, shallow steps. You're going to want to take nice, big, deep, long steps, getting that full stretch at the bottom, really getting everything you can out of this stretch, guys. This is a wonderful stretch, very versatile, great for the lower body. Here soon we'll be wrapping up and we'll be moving on to our next stretch, which I believe is knee holds, knee to chest. Yeah, I'll see you on the next clip, guys. All right, guys, so now we're starting our second general warm-up. This is, like I said, knee to chest. Going a little fast here. You ideally don't want to do that. You want to slow them down. There we go. That's a little bit better. So you guys want to make sure you're doing these real nice and slow, getting that good stretch up at the top. This is primarily going to be a stretch for your glutes and also your hips, as well as a little warm-up for your grip strength, so your hands, forearms, all that good stuff. Here I'm about to show you how not to do them, so you really don't want to do them real quick and fast. You want to hold them up at the top. All right, and next we're going to be doing some toe holds or heel to butts. These are basically going to be a really good quad stretch. You're going to want to hold them in the back, really focus on getting that good quad stretch. You see here, I'm using a support, having my camera woman get a little bit better angle so y'all can see where my feet are ending up at the end of the movement. So with these guys, just like the last one, you're going to want to take it slow. You're going to want to make sure you're getting that full good stretch. Again, we're not getting the exercise yet, guys, so there's no reason to hurry up. As you see there, I'm showing you how not to do it. Don't lose your balance and fall over, please. All right, and next up on our general warm-up is going to be our split toe touches. Me personally, I like to start with the split toe touches before regular toe touches. It sounds kind of bad, but it allows for a little bit more cheating. It's a little bit easier to get to the bottom of the exercise. So as you see here, I'm taking it slow. I'm showing you how not to do it right now. So don't bounce like that, guys. It's bad. It can lead to injury with this. Like I said, it's just a warm-up. You're going to want to take it nice and slow. Get a good stretch at the bottom of every rep and the top of every rep. All right, guys. Now, like I said in the last one, we're going to be moving on to our regular toe touches. This one, along with the last one, they're both going to be primarily hamstring and Achilles stretchers. So it's going to be a really good lower body one. Same as last one, guys. You're really going to want to make sure you take your time with this one. I find this one's a little bit harder than the last one, so it's actually more chance to injure yourself. So really, please don't make sure you guys are bouncing like that. I'm showing you what not to do here. So really hold it down at the bottom, just like you see here, and you'll get a great stretch. Alrighty, guys, and now we're moving on to the crossbody twist. Arguably my favorite warm-up. Still not technically a specific warm-up yet. This is still a general warm-up. We're just warming up the main trunk of the body right now. So this is going to be a good spinal flexor stretch. This will be a good abdominal stretch. You may even get a little pec and arm in there. This is just a really good overall full body stretch. All right, guys, so now we're going to be beginning the specific warm-ups. These are going to be warm-ups designed specifically for this workout to aid you in this workout. First, we're going to begin with mountain climbers. I really like these as someone with really stiff ankles just from birth. I find these mountain climbers to be a great warm-up for my squats. It helps me get into that bottom position a lot easier. It typically people that are born with longer femur bones have a harder time getting in the bottom position of a squat, just because that knee has to travel so much further over the toe, depending on how long your thigh bone is. But I'm one of those people unfortunate enough to be born with long femurs, so ankle mobility is a huge key for me. This is going to be great for ankle mobility. All right, moving on to our next specific warm-up is going to be the body air squat. So as you see here, there's no weight. Same as all other stretches, guys. You're going to want to take this one nice and slow, really focus on that stretch in the bottom of the rep. This will be great for those hips, those legs, those hamstrings, the quads. As you see, I changed my arm positioning there. that doesn't matter all too much. As
I
you're
say
seeing right
shoot
now,
for whatever's most
I'm showing y'all what not to do with this warm-up. So you're going to want to make sure you keep your heels planted to get the most out of this stretch. Whenever you lift your heels, you kind of take away some from this stretch. And our next warm-up is going to be arm circles. As you see here, I'm getting into frame. So with these, again, guys, same as all the other warm-ups. It's probably getting annoying by now, but we're going to take it nice and slow. No rush here, guys. Really just focus on getting that blood pumped into that shoulder joint. As y'all know, the shoulder joint is a very multifaceted joint. It can move any which direction. But so you're gonna really want to make sure you get that thing warmed up. We're gonna be doing some shoulder workouts later today. That's why this is part of the specific warm-up. I believe shoulder-specific warm-ups are very necessary. So as you see here, I am showing you what not to do. You're not going to want to throw your arm around like a madman like that. It's just not good for you. I think, yeah, we're going to move on to some double arm. Really slow these down. Get it going both directions. And again, not going to want to be a madman like that, guys. Keep it professional. Keep it nice and slow and athletic. All right, guys, last but not least, specific warm-up. This is going to be the elbow pulls. Before we start, I'm just tucking in my shirt, making sure I'm not showing y'all anything you don't want to see. So first, you're going to get your one side of your body, you're going to pull that arm above your head. Use the other hand to kind of assist you in pulling that elbow across your body. This is going to be a really good lat warm-up. This is what I use for my lat warm-ups. It'll be really good for our specific lat work later on in the workout. Like I said, like everything else, guys, all the other warm-ups, nice, slow, and controlled movements here. No rush to get anything done. And let's get into the workout. All right, so to start the workout off, guys, we're going to be starting with a barbell bench press. See me zipping up my fanny pack there before we begin. So, looks like we're getting into frame a little bit still. And now we're beginning. So with this one, guys, you're going to want to make sure you get a moderate grip. For me, I do about shoulder width apart. You're going to want to have a nice athletic arch in the back. Keep your back tight. Keep your arms tight. My elbows are shooting down by my side. They're not flaring out too much. Keep them at a nice 45-degree angle. But anyways, guys, this is the flat bench press. This will be good for your chest. This will be a great barbell chest exercise. Common errors would definitely be flaring your elbows out, lifting your feet up. You don't want to do any of that. And again, guys, we're going to be taking this nice, slow, and controlled for muscle building purposes. Next up, we got the close grip bench press. So setup's going to be almost identical to the flat bench press, the one prior with regular grip. You're going to want to have a nice tight back, feet on the floor, elbows to the side. The only difference is you're going to start with your hand placement a little bit closer. The advice I typically give to people is just go as close as your hands can permit you. This is going to be a good chest and tricep exercise. It kind of targets both. Some people, you can use it, you can slow it down or speed it up to target one or the other more. I often find a slower rep will target the triceps more, faster rep will target the chest more. Common mistakes would just be setting your hands too wide on a close grip bench press. Remember, this is the close grip. Next exercise is going to be, we got the incline press. So for the incline press, it's going to be basically same setup as the other two, except for you're going to need an incline bench. Don't want to lift your hands. You want to make sure you're keeping your elbows at your side, about a 45-degree angle, like I said previously. Not 90 degrees out to you, but not also hugging your body. Again, nice, slow, and controlled reps. This is going to be good for the chest and upper chest, along with the front delts. Common errors with this would be speeding it up, using too wide of a grip. Using too wide of a grip can kind of put your shoulders at a at-risk angle, so I wouldn't recommend that. But other than that, this is a wonderful exercise for the chest and upper chest. Next, we'll be moving on to some legs. So next up, Next up, we got the barbell back squat. This is going to be utilizing the barbell as well as the previous lifts. The difference is we're going to be targeting a different muscle group. In this exercise, we're going to be doing what we were doing in the warm-up, but with a little bit of weight on our back. You're going to want to position the bar about shoulder height, maybe a little under, a little over, not over actually, a little shoulder height or a little under for the rack positioning. Not all racks are going to be perfect to your height. With these guys, you're going to want to have about a shoulder width stance, knees on top of your toes. You want to keep those in line throughout the whole lift. Reach depth, go below parallel, or else it's not a squat. Common errors would be to just not be going low enough, going too high, keeping your feet too close, keeping your feet too wide. You want to get a moderate stance with this. This will be great exercise for the legs and is utilized by many athletes in pretty much every sport. Next up, we're going to be doing another variation of the squat, the barbell back squat, excuse me. This one is going to be a wider stance. So in the previous exercise, a common mistake would be to have a wide stance, but in this exercise, our goal is to have a wide stance. The reason to avoid the wide stance in the first back squat is not really to avoid injury unless you have a condition of some kind that doesn't allow your hips to be as flexible. But the reason we avoid it is to target the right muscles. On this one, we're going to be targeting more of the glute and hip region. Still legs, obviously. We're still doing a squatting movement, but this one's going to utilize more of your glutes in it. So that's the purpose for the wide stance. Common mistakes would be to go too narrow or go too wide. There is such thing as too wide for everybody, and that will put you in a situation where you may get injured. But yeah, this is a wonderful variation of the back squat whenever you're needing to mix it up. Oftentimes, doing back squat over and over again can get kind of boring, so you want to use a wider stance. The next one, again, another variation of the barbell back squat. This one's probably my personal favorite due to my ankle flexibility or lack thereof mentioned earlier in the warm-up. So this one's basically going to allow you to stack a plate underneath your heels, elevating your heels. For people, like I said, with longer femurs or less flexible ankles, this is going to be a great movement for you because it's going to put your ankles in a good position to start off with, so that bottom of the squat doesn't feel nearly as harsh on the ankles and joints. With this one, it's going to be the same as the other ones, guys. You're going to want to take it nice and slow, making sure you're getting that good contraction. This one's going to target more of your quadriceps, so more of the front of the leg. This is the narrower the legs, typically the more quad focused the squat. So this one's going to be hyper quad focused. Common errors would be to be stacking the plates too high, or I don't really see not high enough, but too high, and that can put you in a situation of scary imbalance where it could possibly lead to injury. So you want to make sure you get about a 25, maybe 10s if 25 feels too tall. Personally, I like the 25-pound plate. I think I'm actually using a 35 in the video. But yeah, that is the barbell close stance back squat. Next up, we got some dumbbells. Alrighty, guys, so dumbbells. We're going to be doing the dumbbell shoulder press. We're going to be starting with a pronated grip, so a regular grip, one could say. Fingers facing forward, knuckles facing the back of us. You're going to keep your elbows kind of flared out like you see here. Not directly to your side, but kind of like at a 15, 25 degree angle right in front of you. This is going to be a great exercise targeting the side and front delts and a little bit of rear delts in there. Common mistakes would definitely be to flare the elbows out too wide. That's probably the most common mistake I see. Other than that, I see elbows pushed in a little bit too much, which can target the front delt a little bit more than you would necessarily want on this exercise. But yeah, this is a wonderful shoulder exercise. I will typically start all my dumbbell presses with this one, the most generic one, you could say. Excuse me. Next up, we got the neutral grip dumbbell press. So this guy right here is going to be more focused on the front delts rather than the side delts. Keeping your wrists at this angle, such as this, kind of keeps that pressure more towards the front of your body, which in turn activates more front delt than anything else. And again, guys, with all these workouts, like I said, we're going to want to perform these at a slow and controlled pace, as you see in my video. We're not rushing. We're not focusing on explosivity right now. Right now, it's strictly about muscle building and strength. So more time under tension, the better, typically. Common errors with this would be the same as last one. It would just be flaring those elbows out too much or flaring them in too much. You want to keep those elbows nice and neutral, stacked right underneath your wrists, as you see in the video. But yeah, setup's going to be the same as the other dumbbell exercise. You're going to get the little 90-degree sitting bench and go to town. Next up, we got the supinated dumbbell shoulder press. So this one's going to be basically the opposite as the first one we did. This one's going to be facing with the knuckles as most forward as you can. I don't have very flexible wrists, as you see in the video, so mine's kind of at more of like a 30-degree, 40-degree angle, if you will. But you want to do your best to keep those dumbbells close to the front. Many often will call this exercise the Arnold press, or they'll mix in a little twist and call it the Arnold press. But this is going to be a really good exercise for those front delts.
The last one, you thought that one that's heavy on the front delts. This one's super heavy on the front delts. So this one's going to basically common
put all
mistakes
that
would just be
pressure
to
up in
not
the
have
front,
those wrists in proper
make those
angles,
fronts
not
dope.
have those elbows stacked, which can lead to injury. But yeah, I will catch you in the next exercise. All right, so now moving on to the leg portion of our dumbbell exercises. We're going to be starting off with some RDLs, or Romanian deadlifts. These are basically going to be strict-legged deadlifts. You're going to keep your knee in a nice athletic position. It won't be completely locked, so please don't lock your knees back and then try to perform these. That will lead to injury. Setup's basically going to be grab 2 dumbbells of moderate weight. You're going to want to have it not too heavy, not too light. This is going to be a great exercise for those hamstrings. Like everything else, guys, slow and controlled. Really feel that burn at the bottom of that rip, but you got to push through that. You push through that burn, get up to the top. At the top's where you're going to feel that contraction in the hamstring. You're going to want to hold that. In the video, it kind of looks like I'm standing up completely, but you don't want to stand up quite completely. I like to keep a slight 10-degree bend in the back at the top. Next up, we got some single leg RDL. So this is the variation number 2 of the first exercise. This is basically the exact same thing as the first one, except for you're doing it unilaterally instead of bilaterally. So I'm going to be taking it one leg at a time, left first and then right next. Doesn't matter the order you do that in. It's going to be great for the hamstrings, just like the last one. This one's also going to be a little bit more of a quote-unquote athletic training procedure, as you are required to balance in it as well. So if you play sports, solo sports, team sports, this is going to be good for you. Really help you work on that balance, that coordination. Common errors I see with this, I see a lot of people set up with their feet on something to kind of keep balance, which isn't an error, kind of a weird segue, but it is something to point out that you could use that as help to help you balance during this. As you see, I lose balance a little bit there. But, as I was saying, common errors. Losing balance, not wearing flat shoes. Try to wear the flattest shoes you can find. I actually have on some athletic shoes in here, so not the best shoes possible. But something nice and flat, like some Vans or some Converse, would be really ideal for this situation. That way you're as close to the ground as possible. The further away from the ground during any balance movement is going to make it a little bit harder. But anyways, I'll catch y'all in the next workout. All right, I am back. I'm sure y'all missed me. So next up, we got some more RDLs. This time, the variation, however, is going to include some elevation. So as you see here, I kind of get to the edge of this foam dumbbell mat. It's pretty high up. It's about 2 inches. I'll typically use like a deadlift platform for this exercise. So like I said, you want to get something with a little bit of elevation, about 2-3 inches. Kind of put your toes off the edge a little bit. That way you give yourself ample room to drop those dumbbells. The reasoning for the elevation, guys, is to get that extra stretch at the bottom. So if you found it hard to get like a mind-muscle connection with your hamstrings in the last one, this one will almost assure you can feel those hamstrings. In the bottom of this rep, those hamstrings should be on fire. But like I said, guys, you just got to push through that pain, get to the top of the rep, feel that contraction, and get ready for the next one. Common errors would definitely be to go too fast on this. With the big stretch like this, you really want to take your time to avoid all chance of injury. But yeah, another great hamstring exercise with the dumbbells. I will catch y'all in the next one. All right, guys, moving on to the next modality. We got the kettlebell row. So we're going to be starting off with some neutral grip here. Keeping that wrist at a nice straight position, keeping the thumb pointed towards the wall in front of you and the bottom of your fist pointed towards the wall behind you. So what we're doing in this exercise, guys, is we're going to be working the mid-back. We're going to be working those trapezius muscles, those rear delts, those spinal erectors, all those big muscles in the back used for pulling. This is essentially a reverse bench press. Instead of pushing, you're pulling, and instead of your chest, it's your back. So you're going to want to make sure you're going nice and slow with this one, guys. Common errors I see is getting real heavy weight and speeding this up, making yourself feel real big and bad, but ultimately you're not getting nearly as much work as the guys controlling the weight.
So now we're moving on to the other side. This is going to be a unilateral exercise unless you can figure out a way to row 2 kettlebells and support all that weight on your forehead and neck. If you do figure that out, please let me know. But yeah, you're going to want to support your head and body with the opposing arm of the row. And you're going to want to have your back kind of perpendicular to the ground, or as perpendicular as you can get it. So you don't want to be too leaned up. If you're too leaned up, it'll be too much traps. If you're too leaned down, it'll be too much lats. So you want to keep a nice neutral position to the ground. And I'll catch up with you guys in the next row. All right, moving on to the next variation of the kettlebell row. You're going to set up same positioning, perpendicular back to the ground, opposing arm supporting you. This one, however, is going to be a pronated grip. So your knuckles are going to be facing the wall or mirror in front of you, and your palm is going to be facing behind you. Same cues as last one, guys. You're going to really want to drive that elbow up into the ceiling, control that rep, feel that nice contraction up at the top, feel that back open up like a book in the bottom. Another great cue for you guys, kind of think of your back as a book opening up every time you go down to the bottom of that rep. It really helps you imagine all the muscles in your back stretching and getting full usage with every rep. Good cues for this one, guys. You're going to want to make sure you keep that angle basically at the same angle as the bench press. Like I said in the last row, the row is basically just a reverse bench press. So that kind of stamps that in even further. The angle will be about a 45-degree angle. As you see there, I kind of adjusted it. I was a little bit too far out. You don't want to be too far out. That can lead to injury. You don't want to be too far in, or else you won't be targeting the desired muscles. In this one, you're really going to be hammering those rear delts and trapezius muscles. This one's going to really kind of get the outside of your back. That's not so much of your lat. The next row will be more focused on the lats with the supinated grip. But I will catch you guys in the next one. All right, guys, so now we are setting up for the pronated. Setup's going to be the same as all the other ones, guys. You're going to want to have that perpendicular back. The only difference is you're going to be keeping that palm towards the wall in front of you and the knuckles facing as far back as you can. This one, guys, you're going to really want to drive with that elbow, drive that cue even further. People tend to start this movement with their bicep and use a lot of bicep on this movement just due to the hand positioning. It's a little bit more natural for you to pull with the bicep in that position rather than the lat muscle. But like I said, the lats are the targeted muscle in this position, or this workout, excuse me. Same as all the other ones, nice, slow, and controlled. Keep pushing. I know it's going to burn. You're going to feel in that lower lat, kind of in that under armpit area. But this is, again, unilateral exercise. It's going to be one side at a time. I find this often will help with contraction. Some people say that you don't get as good of a workout with unilateral stuff just due to the rests, the needed rests. I mean, it's not a choice, but I would disagree with that. This is personally actually one of my favorite exercises to do, not necessarily with a kettlebell, but the supinated row like this, it's a wonderful exercise for the lats. Just make sure we're not pulling with our bicep, make sure we're keeping our back flat, nice flat to the ground, and keep pushing, guys. I'll see you in the next workout. We got this. All right, y'all. So now we're moving on to the leg portion of our kettlebell modality. For this, we're going to be doing a couple variations of kettlebell swings. So as you see here, starting off with the basic kettlebell swing, make sure we're getting all the way sunken down on the bottom of that rep. Bend at those hips, bend at the knees. Let that weight carry you in a way, but at the same time, you're going to be controlling the weight, guys. That's probably the most common mistake I see with the kettlebell swings, is I see that people take the swing a little too literally, and they let that kettlebell control them and carry them forward and carry them up and all that stuff. This isn't a momentum. I mean, it is a momentum exercise, but we're not trying to use only momentum here. You're going to want to be squeezing those glutes at the top of the rep right there and stretching them at the bottom. This is going to be a great glute exercise.
Next up, we're going to be doing some unilateral work with this. So this will be a good kind of core stabilization exercise.